This is the end result. It's purple, just like me. Cheers! This is my guide to bulking, the easy way that everyone can do. What I did in the past and what I'm doing now in order to bulk. I was actually struggling to gain weight long before I started lifting, and the only way I managed to actually gain some weight was when I started going to the gym and my appetite increased a lot. If you're in this situation as well, stay tuned to find out what strategies I'm using to bulk and what I do outside the gym, and hopefully you can steal some tips. I use the available apps to monitor my macronutrients and micronutrients intake for a while. Then I got bored of it because it was taking too long to do it, and I simply did not have the time to do it anymore. I still think it's a good idea to use apps if you don't know what you're doing initially, but there are other ways of keeping track of your progress. So starting off with my favorite one, and the method that I still use, is weighing my portions of food for each meal, as this doesn't take much time at all, and once you do it long enough you will have a very good idea about how much you're actually eating in terms of calories. Also, I made myself a list of the most nutritiously dense foods so that I don't have to think about what to cook every time in order to get everything covered from a nutrition standpoint. In the past, I would look at the list to see what should I cook, but now I do it intuitively because I pretty much memorized that list and I don't even think about it anymore.
The cucumber, or as they call it in Jamaica, cucumba. Cucumba. Vitamins, minerals, very high number.
So a note here, I hope you realize that I'm not eating 100% clean because that would require to grow food at home, and I'm not at that stage in life yet. But I don't think you should worry too much about this as long as you work out regularly and eat pretty clean, maybe like 70 to 80% clean. You will be able to neglect the negative effects of the less than ideal food and burn right through it. Many people don't realize how much more important working out is or doing sports than nutrition. And yes, I truly believe you can out-train a bad diet. And by bad diet, I don't mean eating pretzels and drinking Coke. Don't get me wrong, I do not recommend eating like garbage, but you get my point. By the way, I'm only talking about people with no health problems here. So I'm not saying you should follow this advice, but I say experiment for yourself and get blood tests maybe like twice a year. It's my suggestion. I'm drifting away a bit here, but I'm very passionate about this. So basically, I don't know how many calories I eat. I don't know how much protein I eat, or carbs, or fat. I just know what my portions weigh and how to adjust them according to my goal. I know how much I weigh since I weigh myself regularly, and I take pics in order to monitor my progress and see the changes that occur based on what and how much I eat. Now, I want to show you the legendary smoothie shake that started it all for me. So, I want to show you guys how I do my smoothie. Here are 110 grams of oats, 20 grams of raw peanuts, like 5 or 4 dates, 15 grams of almonds, 15 grams of pumpkin seeds, 15 grams of walnuts, 1 Brazil nut. I usually do 1 big tablespoon of peanut butter. Here are 15 grams of chia seeds, 2 bananas, 1 cup of protein, 5 grams of creatine, like 80 grams of blueberries, like 5 strawberries, these are all frozen, and a big handful of spinach. I usually mix all of this in this blender with some milk. You can choose whatever milk you like, and that's about it. I've been using this for many years, and this has helped me a lot to be able to gain weight faster. This is the end result. It's purple, just like me. Cheers. Basically, getting liquid calories will be much easier to get than just eating normal food. And for someone like me that struggled to gain weight for a very long time, discovering this was like discovering the internet for the first time. Another point would be having calorie dense meals so you get the most out of every meal. Now, for myself, being plant-based, it was pretty difficult initially to get enough food in due to high volume and low calorie foods associated with plant-based diets. But after I learned more, it was pretty easy. The following list is for my clients struggling to gain weight. So having foods like whole eggs, nuts, seeds, dried fruits, rice, red meat, whole bread, avocado, banana, fruit juice, firm tofu, potatoes, chicken, pasta, sweet potatoes, smoothies, whole milk, nut butter, fat, fish, jam, quinoa, oats, beans, cereal bars, dark chocolate, yogurt, cheese, olive oil, soybeans, textured vegetable protein, also known as TVP. These, just to name a few calorie dense foods that you can add to your meals, but make sure you're not leaving veggies and fruits out. Another thing that I personally do to get more calories in is to have healthy caloric snacks like yogurt with nuts and seeds, maybe using sunflower seeds or cashew nuts or whatever I have laying around in my house. Or maybe 2 or 3 pieces of whole wheat bread with peanut butter jelly and a glass of milk, or maybe do some protein pancakes. In the past, I would also have a can of tuna with bread and onion because I enjoyed the taste, but I don't suggest eating tuna too often. So here's my final advice on how to bulk. Firstly, you need to increase your appetite, and the best way to increase your appetite is to experiment with the foods that you like and to eat them in large quantities. So basically having more meals. Now this advice might fire back to me, but you need to remember that we are talking about decently nutritious foods and limiting processed foods. Another tip would be to just use intuitive eating. I think that's the way to go after you've become more experienced and have a good understanding of macro and micronutrients needs, and this is pretty much what I do now. Also, don't let yourself be influenced by diet culture. You can eat whatever you want, but do it in a responsible way for your health and longevity. Use food weighing as the main form of tracking your total daily intake of food. Keep logs of your daily weight on the scale, but make sure you weigh yourself under the same circumstances. For example, I weigh myself every morning on an empty stomach after I went to the toilet. I do it naked, and I'm making sure that the scale stays in the same place for an accurate measurement. Also, don't forget to take progress pics in the same position, lighting and timing of the day to make sure the bulking process gets you well-rounded and fat. Take measurements of the body parts that you're interested in developing as another way of monitoring your progress. And finally, I would say if you're bulking, 1.4 to 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram should be enough. So this is what I usually have before my morning workouts. These are raisins, dried figs, and some rice cakes. I would have around 100 grams of either one of those. So that would be around 60 to 80 grams of carbs. And this would be before my first meal in the morning. So we'll do this bowl is not very balanced. 56. So yeah, that should be good.